because a fresh unit number 3, which is about environment. So we'll deal with the essay found in unit 3. Before I start, let me introduce the author to you. The author of the essay is Aldo Leopold. So he's an American professor, a forester, a naturalist who has been called as the father of wildlife ecology. So it is said that he knew more about America's wildlife than anyone else of his time. So he was born in 1887 and then he died in the year 1948. So he taught the philosophy that people cannot hurt one part of the web of life ecosystem without the rest of the web being affected. He says that it's like a spider's web. If you touch even one strip or strand of the web, the whole web shakes. So that's his idea. So this idea is outlined in this essay, which is called as Thinking Like a Mountain. Okay. So thinking like a mountain about this essay. It is from the collection of works called as a Sand County Almanac and sketches here and there. So the title has emerged as a term depicting a philosophy that focuses on a holistic harmony among various elements of the ecosystem. Okay. Uh, okay. Before we go into this essay, so I told you this essay will be dealing with the ecosystem. We'll see more into it when we read that. But before that, I want you to imagine yourself to be in an animal council. I want you uh, to be in an animal council right now. I also want you to imagine yourself to be an animal. Okay, so imagine yourself to be an animal, any animal of your choice, and give one threat that you face, which you would like to lodge as a complaint in this council. For example, your answers should be you can type it out in the chat box. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes. Your answers should be, for example, I am a farmhouse. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm a farm mouse, and my threat is so and so. Okay, whatever. You're a deer, whatever. Okay. So I'll give you a few minutes. Can you type out your threats, your complaints, lodge your complaints in this animal council? Okay, you can make use of the chat box. I'll give you just a couple of minutes. Another 2 minutes. Okay, thank you. I can see quite a few responses. Um, I think you can stop responding. Thank you. Um, can I have one volunteer to read out these responses to the class?
Sir, I can read out.
Yes, Advik.
Sir, do I read out all of them from the beginning?
Yes, you can read all of them, but you don't have to mention the student's name. Just say next and then read.
Okay. So I'm a rat and I'm afraid of cats that they would eat me. Next, I'm a fish and my threat is being caught alive and then being eaten, literally. Next, I'm a lion and I'm afraid that a hunter may shoot me down from behind. The next one is turtle. The turtle is speaking. Why are there so many straws? Next, I'm a monkey and I'm afraid of humans throwing stones at me. The next one is I'm an elephant and they hunt me for my tusks in unnoticed forest parts. Next, I'm a tiger and the threat of human expansion on wild society leading to extinction. Next, I'm a baboon. I can tell you that my home is being destroyed. Next, I'm a cow and people are stealing my kids' food. Next, I'm an ant and I'm afraid of humans stepping on me. Next, I'm a bird and humans keep wondering if the government replaces our batteries time to time. Next, I'm a polar bear and my habitat is melting away due to the activities of mankind. Next, I'm a dolphin and I'm afraid of being confined in a pool to entertain people. The next one is I'm a tiger in a zoo and I hate it here. Next one is I'm a dolphin and I'm a unihemispheric sleep. And I have a unihemispheric sleep. Next, I'm a penguin and I'm worried about the reducing population of my colony and the loss of ice at my home. Next, I'm a grey wolf, and the strange creatures with no fur and walk on two legs keep coming into my house and stealing my food from me. When I try to have a serious conversation, they point these skinny sticks at me, which makes these loud noises and leave holes in my body. Next, I'm a rhino and I'm gonna kill him soon. Please save me. I'm a tiger and finding mates is getting rather difficult. Next, I'm an animal and have only two choices: to adapt to myself or to go extinct in this changing environment. I'm a chimp and I feel disgusted that my evolutionary counterparts are destroying themselves and everyone around them. I'm an oyster and I'm worried about killing me for my skin. I'm a viper and people hunt me for my venom. I'm a snake and I'm afraid humans would strip my skin for their own vanity. I'm an Arctic fox and I'm worried that my home will melt away due to climate change. Uh, I'm a human and I'm worried. Okay, so that's nothing. I'm a chicken.
You can read that. You can read that.
Okay, I'm a human and I'm worried about my midsum results. I'm a chicken and they kill me to make my nuggets. I'm a rhino and threat is habitat loss due to deforestation. I'm a cow and I'm afraid that people would kill me for my meat. I'm a amur leopard and I'm about to become extinct from this world. I'm an animal and my death is predicted by humans and not my body. I'm a spider and humans think it's funny to step on me. I am a kangaroo and I lost my home and family in the wildfire. I'm a lion and I'm afraid of being hunted down by humans. I am a cat. It's embarrassing that everyone is afraid of dash and dash, and I feel I am the odd one out in fam. I'm a mosquito who's killed for eating food. I am a peacock and people kill me because they love me. How far is this fair? I'm a stray dog and I'm afraid humans will harm me, kill me for, or pelt stones at me for no reason. I'm an elephant and I'm afraid of pineapple. Everyone asks, what animal is that? What is that animal? But nobody asks, how is that animal? I'm a sloth and I've lost my home because of deforestation and I can't move that fast to another place in search of food. I'm a dog and I have my own family to care about. Why are these depressed humans squeezing me all the time? I'm a cute fish. I'm afraid of humans confining me in a glass container until I die. Seagull, I am okay with humans as long as they leave the doors unlocked. I am a cow who is ill treated, or rather, say that in human language, raped repeatedly by our male species, or that I can produce milk for humans, and when I cannot, I am killed for beef. Koala, I can't move. I'm an animal and I want to live. So that's it so far.
Thank you. Thank you. That was quite intense. Thank you for your responses. So we now saw the different types of animals and the different threats for the animals. Just and we'll go into the essay. So before we go into the essay, let me tell you a few things. It's really important for us to understand that just as much as everyone needs their space and needs to live using that space, that's the natural food chain. That's the natural ecosystem, and that ecosystem needs to be balanced. We cannot have more of lions and less of deer. We cannot have more of hyenas and less of zebras. So there will be an ecological imbalance if a particular species manages to survive, surpassing or outnumbering the range it has to maintain. Now, human population is a lot more than the other creatures, so there's a huge imbalance causing a lot of damage to the environment. Okay, so and with the animal kingdom, you notice an imbalance as well. While some animals are protected, some are not. So that leads to the imbalance of the ecosystem. So now we'll look at this essay and see how Leopold has articulated this need for allowing nature to take its course. So okay, we'll so everybody won't have their textbooks with you. So I'll share the screen with you. Okay. Okay. So let me read through the text. Please follow. I think I can share this link in the chat box so that you can find it convenient to read. Oh, where is it? Yes. Okay. Okay. A deep chesty ball. Thinking Like a Mountain by Aldo Leopold. A deep chesty ball echoes from rim rock to rim rock, rolls down the mountain, and fades into the far blackness of the night. It is an outburst of wild, defiant sorrow and of contempt for all the adversities of the world. Every living thing, and perhaps many a dead one as well, pays heed to that call. To the deer, it is a reminder of the way of all flesh. To the pine, a forecast of midnight scuffles and of blood upon the snow. To the coyote, a promise of gleanings to come. To the cowman, a threat of red ink at the bank. To the hunter, a challenge of fang against bullet. Yet behind these obvious and immediate hopes and fears, there lies a deeper meaning, known only to the mountain itself. Only the mountain has lived long enough to listen objectively to the howl of a wolf. Okay, I see that my voice is breaking. Is that only for Syed? Okay, right. So I don't want to explain paragraph by paragraph. First, I will read it because you will be curious to know what the essay is about. Let's give a full reading. The essay is also small. Okay. So please awaken your five senses when I read it. Okay. Those unable to decipher the hidden meaning know nevertheless that it is there, for it is felt in all wolf country, and distinguishes that country from all other land. It tingles. Wait, chat box is hiding it. Oh, okay. It tingles in the spine of all who hear wolves by night, or who scan their tracks by day. Even without sight or sound of wolf, it is implicit in a hundred small events. The midnight, whinny of a pack horse, the rattle of rolling rocks, the bound of a fleeing deer, the way shadow lie under the spruces. Only the ineducable tyro can fail to sense the presence or absence of wolves, or the fact that mountains have a secret opinion about them. My own conviction on this score dates from the day I saw a wolf die. We were eating lunch on a high rim rock, at the foot of which a turbulent river elbowed its way. We saw what we thought was a doe fording the torrent, her breast awash in white water. When she climbed the bank toward us and shook out her tail, we realized our error. It was a wolf. A half dozen others, evidently grown pups, sprang from the willows and all joined in a welcoming melee of wagging tails and playful maulings. What literally what was literally a pile of wolves writhed and tumbled in the center of an open flat at the foot of a rim rock. In those days, we had never heard of passing up a chance to kill a wolf. In a second, we were pumping lead into the pack, but with more excitement than accuracy. How to aim a steep downhill shot is always confusing. When our rifles were empty, the old wolf was down, and a pup was dragging a leg into impassable slide rocks. We reached the old wolf in time to watch a fierce green fire dying in her eyes. I realized then, and have known ever since, that there was something new to me in those eyes, something known only to her and to the mountain. I was young then and full of trigger itch. I thought that because fewer wolves meant more deer, that no wolves would mean hunter's paradise. But after seeing the green fire die, I sensed that neither the wolf nor the mountain agreed with such a view. Since then, I have lived to see state after state extirpate its wolves. I have watched the face of many a newly wolfless mountain and seen the south facing slopes wrinkled with a maze of new deer trails. I have seen uh, Tulasi. Can you please mute yourself? I can hear my voice echoing. Okay. I have seen every edible tree defoliated. Did I miss a line? Okay. I have seen every edible bush and seedling browsed first to anemic desuetude and then to death. I have seen every edible tree defoliated to the height of a saddle horn. Such a mountain looks as if someone had given God a new pruning shears and forbidden him all other exercise. In the end, the starved bones of the hoped for deer herd, dead of its own too much, bleach with the bones of the dead sage, or moulder under the high lined junipers. I now suspect that just as a deer herd lives in mortal fear of its wolves, so does a mountain live in mortal fear of its deer. And perhaps with better cause, for while a buck pulled down by wolves can be replaced in 2 or 3 years, a range pulled down by too many deer may fail of replacement in as many decades. So also with cows. The cowman who cleans his range of wolves does not realize that he is taking over the wolf's job of trimming the herd to fit the range. He has not learned to think like a mountain. Hence, we have dust bowls and rivers washing the future into the sea. We all strive for safety, prosperity, comfort, long life, and dullness. The deer strives with his supple legs, the cowman with trap and poison, the statesman with pen, the most of us with machines, votes, and dollars. But it all comes to the same thing: peace in our time. A measure of success in this is all well enough and perhaps is a requisite to objective thinking. But too much safety seems to yield only danger in the long run. Perhaps this is behind Thoreau's dictum: in wildness is the salvation of the world. Perhaps this is the hidden meaning in the howl of the wolf, long known among mountains, but seldom perceived among men. So, isn't this a wonderful essay? I hope you got what the author is trying to tell you. Now, let's discuss the vocabulary or the explanation of the essay. Okay. Okay. I am looking into the chat box if we have asked for doubts. Okay, thank you for the compliments. Great, Mike, sir. Sure, this is Sure, Mike. Sorry, I don't have a system mic. I use it along with the mixer, so I have no other choice. Okay, now let's see. Let's go into the. Let's go by from paragraph to paragraph. The first paragraph. Now, as soon as I told about thinking like a mountain, what did you think? And what did this essay actually tell about thinking like a mountain? So, from the first paragraph, what do we understand? So, what do you understand about the sound described in the first two sentences? Okay. Now, can you tell me what you understand about the sound described in the first two sentences? A deep chesty ball echoes from rimrock to rimrock, rolls down the mountain, and fades into the far blackness of the night. What is this sound about? Right. Okay. It is about the howl of a wolf. The answer also is in the last line of the paragraph. The author says what sound it is. The author first describes the howl itself as a chesty ball or an arrogant cry, and as a wild, defiant sorrow, which means arrogant or obstinate, sorrowful outburst. So this is a noise that breaks the silence when all the other creatures are quiet and resting at night. So this howl shows contempt or mocks all the other adversities of the world. This howl mocks at any difficult and unpleasant situation of the world and makes it feel that it's nothing when compared to the howl of the wolf. So the author also mentions the impact of this howl on 5 different creatures of the mountain. Now, before we go to the next line, I just want you to get the feel of this howling. Is it audible? Can you hear this? Okay, just to give you a feel of that. Now, the howl mocks at the 5 different creatures which is getting impacted through this howl, which is the deer. It is a reminder of the way of all flesh. That's an idiom, which means to die. For a deer, it is a reminder to die. To the pine, pine means pine tree. So these are evergreen coniferous trees that grow on mountains. So this howl is a forecast of short fights and struggles that are going to leave blood stains on the snow. So that's the impact on the pine. Okay. To the coyote. The coyote is another species of wolf, but much smaller. It's a promise of collecting the leftover after the wolves had finished their fill. Okay. So, and then next to the cowman. Cowman is the one who takes care of the cows. It's a threat of red ink at the bank. So the phrase red ink at the bank could have 2 connotations. In one sense, it could mean the blood of the cows killed by the wolves at the river bank. That is one meaning. The other meaning can be to the financial loss that the cowman has to undergo. So red ink means financial loss that the cowman has to undergo because the wolves have killed his cows, and these cows could be the source of his livelihood. Okay. So lastly, to the hunter, it's a challenge of fang against the bullet. But what the author says is behind all these hopes and fears, there's a deeper meaning which is known only to the mountain because the mountain has lived long enough to listen objectively to the wolf. So, which means the mountain has seen it happen again and again to understand the opinion of the other creatures to the howl of the wolf. Okay, so we'll go to the second paragraph. Here, the author goes on to say that there is something which disguises this wolf country from all other countries. So, the hidden meaning that is known only to the mountain may not be deciphered or decoded by people, but everyone knows that there's a hidden meaning and it remains a mystery to many. Nevertheless, it is felt by all. So the author says that it sends a tingle or a stinging sensation in the spine of all those who hear the wolves howling and those who scan their tracks by daytime. Now, as you listen to the audio, you would have felt this, I guess. So even without the evidence of hearing or seeing a wolf, people are able to know its presence. So the author says that there are 100 small events that happens at midnight that confirm the presence of wolves. And some of them are the soft, high sound of a horse that carries load. Pack horse means a horse that carries loads. And the rattle of rolling rocks because of the fleeing animals. The bound of a deer that is running for its life. Bound means to walk or run with leaping strides. So the way shadows lie under the spruces. Spruce is another a variety of trees, which refers to the animal that are hiding under the spruces, fearing the wolves. So if there is ever a person who fails to sense the presence or absence of wolves, or who does not know that the mountains have a secret opinion about them, the author calls that sort of a person as ineducable tyro. A tyro is a beginner in learning or a novice, but here the author uses the word ineducable tyro, which is kind of harsh, no? Because it refers to someone considered incapable of being educated, especially as a result of mental disability. So not being able to sense the presence of the wolves is almost similar uh, to an ostrich that buries its head seeing danger. The author considers this oblivion as foolishness. Okay. You can also refer to the paragraph. If you have doubts, you can ask me. Moving on to the third paragraph. Now the first two paragraphs explain the personal conviction of the author, which has stemmed out from an event which he starts narrating from the third paragraph. So he's going to narrate a real life incident. The day the author saw a wolf die. Now you have to picturize this event. The author, along with few others, are eating lunch on a high rim rock. At the foot of this rock is a turbulent river. They see an animal trying to cross the fast moving stream, the surface of water just washing over her breast. They think it's a doe, a female deer, but only, only after the creature shakes its tail, climbing out of the bank towards them, they realize they are wrong. It is not a doe, but a wolf. Immediately, this wolf is joined by half a dozen pups from the willows, just like the young ones of any other animals. So these pups are playful. They're attacking each other. So this pack now tumbles on a flat ground right at the foot of the rim rock. Now, the author says that in those days, the next paragraph you can refer to it. In those days, they had never heard of anyone declining the opportunity to kill a wolf. Okay, following the same instinct, what the author does is or the author and his friends, they start shooting at the pack of wolves, not aiming accurately, but doing it more out of excitement. Okay, so it is always confusing to aim a steep downhill shot, and the author and his friends do not seem to have enough experience with that. They shoot till their rifles are empty, and as a result, they see that the old wolf has died and one pup is injured in the leg. The pup is in extreme agony, is dragging a leg into the impassable rocks where it's possible, where it's not possible to travel. Okay. So next, the author and his friends hurry down to the wolf. So it is here that he encounters a transformation in his attitude. What causes this? That's the fierce green fire that he sees in the eyes of the dying wolf. Okay, so that's a metaphorical significance over here. The author may not have seen a real green fire in the eyes of the wolf, but i- it is more like a sudden vision that brought an insight or conviction that changes his perspective. So after seeing the fierce green fire dying in the eyes of the wolf, he realizes that there is something new to him in those eyes, something that was not something that was known only to the wolf and to the mountain. Okay? So the author confesses that as a young man, and he was impulsive and eager to use his weapon. So he thought that the number of deer would increase if the number of wolves decrease. So if there are no wolves, then it would mean freedom for them for the threat of wolves. Sorry, it would mean freedom for them from the threat of wolves. Okay, so that is what he mentions as a hunter's paradise. So the dying green fire in the eyes of the wolf taught the author that the mountain and the wolf did not agree with his perspective, and that he was totally wrong. Okay, so then the author then goes on to give okay, then the author goes on to give an account of what he has observed in the following years. So he sees wolves being extirpated or eradicated in different places, and he witnesses wolfless mountains that are filled with the trails of the deer. Those trails look like a maze on the slopes. More deer would have, yes, more deer would leave behind nothing but overgrazed bushes and seedlings, which first become a pale stump, not useful, and finally withers. So, edible trees would have their leaves eaten by the deer, and the leftover stump resembles a saddle horn, which means the horn of a saddle. So, these mountains look as if God was given new pruning shears and was prohibited from doing any other work except pruning the trees. So eventually, the deer population uh, become a threat to themselves, as they are not able to find enough vegetation to graze, since they have already eaten too much and the greenery is lost. These deer are now decaying and disintegrating under the junipers. Now, there's a question for you. I think I'm asking a question after a long time. If all vegetation is lost, then how are the junipers there? Why does the author specifically mention the existence of the juniper trees? Did you get my question? If all vegetation is lost, the author tells that the deer eat all the vegetation. So if all the vegetation is lost, then how are the junipers there? Juniper trees, I mean. Why does the author specifically mention the existence of the juniper trees? Any guesses? Hello, has my Cisco WebEx frozen? Oh, okay. That was a good guess. They have thorns. Okay. Yes, they are common in the mountains. It's not edible for deers. Very good. You've guessed it right. It is the right answer. Certain species of the juniper is deer resistant actually. So deer have a sensitive sense of smell and do not uh, they do not like plants with heavy fragrance. The juniper tree has a heavy fragrance. Okay, so the sharp needles of the juniper will discourage them after one bite, and the bite uh, taste of I mean after they bite, the bark will taste bitter. So the deer will stop them. So it will stop them from browsing the plant. Okay, so so next. Okay, the author then goes on to give an account of what he has observed in the following years, right? um, that is what I mentioned about the mountains, about the vegetation which is lost. Okay, so what we know is that the wolves are predators and the deer are the prey. That is what we know. But here the author suspects that just like the wolves are to the deer, so are the deer to the mountain. So the deer is the predator and the mountain becomes the prey. We see a very important information over here, right? So a deer killed by wolves can be replaced in 2 to 3 years, but the vegetation grazed by the deer would take decades to be replaced. Same with the cows. So the cowman is particular in clearing his range of wolves, but does not realize that the job of the wolf in trimming the herd to fit the range is undone. He's trying to do the job of the wolf, right? But he has not learned to think like a mountain. So here is the answer. He has not learned to think like a mountain. So and so they had dust bowls, and the rivers washed the minerals of the soil into the sea. When vegetation is lost, it results in severe dust storm. So that is the meaning of dust bowls. So dust bowl was a period of severe dust storms that greatly damaged the ecology and agriculture of the American and Canadian cities. Okay, during the 1930s. So when vegetation is lost, it results in severe dust storm and also on the loss of topsoil over the mountain, and the minerals are washed away by the rain, and the soil becomes infertile. Right? Okay, so after we uh, after reading this, I I can think of an example. Like um, it happened in our house. Like we have a mini poultry that we set up during the lockdown. Okay, so we have a brood of chicks that hatched a month ago. So they were a high variety of breed. So we were very protective about them. We never left them out on their own. One day, what happened was we locked them inside our compound, and we thought that there was no threat for them. So just for a minute, my dad was watching over them. He went inside to get something. Went inside the house to get something, and then I heard the strange cry of the mother hen. It was like crying out loud. So I could also hear the flapping of its wings. What I immediately did was I ran outside to see what happened. Uh, what I observed was what I observed was the chicks were under the wings of the mother hen, but when I counted, one was missing. We were actually upset looking at the sad mother. We were actually I'm really fond of petting them, but after losing one chick, I was we were really sad about it. So it was a mystery. Like we didn't know what snatched it away. We couldn't suspect the crows also because these chicks were big enough for them to carry. I mean, they were very big. They wouldn't carry these chicks. So And so we didn't know what happened. So what happened yesterday, I was watching from inside. I was watching looking at these hens from inside my house. So I saw a new bird which landed on the basket inside which the mother hen and the chicks were kept. So that was a new bird to me. I went out to see what sort of a bird it was, and on seeing me, it swiftly dived and flew away. Okay, so, and then I realized that the name of that bird was Rajali. I don't know if you know that. If you type it on Google, also you will get that Rajali. And then I realized that that was the predator that had taken the chick away. So we were actually so angry at the predator that we were also planning different ways to scare or kill it. But when after that, I was reading this essay, then that changed my perspective. Actually, I realized that that's part of the food chain, and that's how nature keeps the ecosystem balanced. Okay, so that was what I learned from this essay. So finally, what does the author try to say? So every creature in this world is striving to achieve almost the same goals in life. Okay, so like safety, prosperity, comfort, long life, and dullness. Now, here's a question for you. Which word do you think is odd among the list? I mentioned a few words, no? Safety, prosperity, comfort, long life, and dullness. What is the odd one out? Why do you think the author uses this word? Yes, dullness. So why does he use this word dullness here? So dullness, he refers to it as monotonous routine of life without challenge and adventure. Okay? The ultimate goal of every creature is to live peacefully. So this is what everyone strives for in their own way. A deer strives with his supple or flexible legs. A cowman uses trap and poison to make sure his ranch is safe and peaceful. Now think about the statesman or the political leader. He uses a pen to bring safety and peace to the country, right? And majority of us are using machines, votes, and money just for the purpose of bringing peace. So by voting, we also see if we can get some peace through the rule or through the reign of the government, right? So establishing peace to a certain level could be necessary to solve the problems in the world. Now, uh, objective thinking is what can solve a problem because it takes everybody's opinion into consideration. The mountain is objective in its thinking, right? That's what the author says. But contrasting to this is subjective thinking, which blinds the mind with personal opinions. But the author says that too much safety seems to result in danger in the long run. So every creature has a natural inborn quality of wildness, which is unique. So wildness is a quality of interactive processing between organism and nature, where the realities of base natures are met, which helps also in construction of a balanced ecosystem. Okay, so this is why Thoreau says in wildness is the salvation of the world. So Henry David Thoreau, he was an American naturalist, essayist, and also a philosopher. Okay, so in wildness is the salvation of the world. He quotes Thoreau over here, and the author now reveals the hidden meaning in the howl of the wolf, which is long known to mountains but rarely perceived by human beings, by men. That's how he finishes this essay. Thoughtful and wonderful, right? So, what do you take from this essay? What do you learn from this essay? Yes. Okay. Balance. And then nature works in unique, mysterious ways, right? Everything is interconnected. That's right. Yes. We have to allow nature to take its own course. Then, okay. So every organism has its special purpose, in this ecosystem. We should leave everything in nature's hand. Okay, ecosystem balance where everyone plays a role. That's right. So every organism has its special purpose in the ecosystem, whether it is a wolf, a deer, an insect, or plant. So, in the US, wolves have been wiped out in many states, and they are endangered now. So great measures have been taken to reintroduce these species after people have learned how they can preserve these species. Okay, so mm, so as Aldo also said, he also learned that wolves keep the deer population under control. So without this control, the deer browse the vegetation down to virtually nothing. So after the food is gone, the deer starves, right? And then they get sick because more number of deers, but the vegetation is less. So the vegetation is gone, which also affects other wildlife living in the area, right? It's not only the deer, the other organisms or the creatures are also dependent on the vegetation, right? So without vegetation on the mountain, water runoff will wash away nutrients and the rich topsoil. So this eroded soil will run off into the rivers and other water sources. So large amounts of runoff into the river will lower the oxygen. It will lower the oxygen levels in the rivers or in the water. So that will upset the water ecosystem as well. So possibly killing aquatic wildlife. So the negative impacts are in unending, like how we told. It's like a web. If you touch one strand of it, the whole ecosystem gets shaken. So we think that this happened only on the rim rock. It's only about the mountain. No, the waters flow into the river, and as the loss of vegetation, the topsoil erodes, and then the soil becomes infertile. It doesn't support vegetation. When the topsoil is eroded into the water gets contaminated, right? The oxygen level is low, so that kills the species in the sea. So look at the negative impacts; they are unending, right? So that's what we learned from this beautiful essay. Now I can see a few chat. That's right. Everyone is a part of the food web, and moving one string would trigger multiple consequences and disturb the balance of our ecosystem. Right. Okay. Then from this, uh, what do you personally learn? Can you connect it with your life? Did you learn anything? Can you tell it to us? Can you share it to us? What did it teach you? So all what you said now was what they were general points. How can you contribute to it? Yes. Can I see your responses? Did you um, did you uh, were you able to relate to this essay? Anything which you can share it to us? Okay. Earlier, is there some chat? Okay, we shouldn't disturb the delicate balance in the ecosystem. Human intervention is only detrimental. What do you mean by that, Neon? Can you just explain that? Okay, all right. So I told you to brainstorm or think about what it means to think like a mountain. So, what do you now infer from this essay? What does it mean to think like a mountain? What does it mean to think like a mountain? That's right, objective thinking. Think from multiple perspectives. And then to see the bigger picture. That's right. Syed says we should not think that everything is in our hands to control everything. Very well said. That's right. Survival isn't a sin. Yes. Getting good responses from you. So what we think is dangerous is not considered dangerous by the mountain, right? We think the wolf is dangerous, but that is not considered dangerous by the mountain. So what we think is a threat is an aid to the mountain. The mountain, as you said, the mountain seems to have a broader view about the whole way of the ecosystem, right? Rather than being subjective, rather than having thoughts based on personal feelings. The mountain is objective in thought, or it has thoughts based on others' feelings. Okay. So the mountain thinks that every organism needs its own space to survive, right? Now I'll come to what the activity what I gave. Your responses at the beginning, no? You represented every animal. Now from that, how many threats were from the predators and how many threats were from the humans? So how many threats were from the predators and how many threats from the humans? I think the number of humans, yeah, humans were more. We could see that. So that is what we learned today. Okay, we need to think like a mountain, right? So this essay was based on the ecosystem, the ecology. But when the ecology gets disturbed, when the ecosystem, sorry, the ecosystem, when it gets disturbed, when the food chain gets disturbed, when the food web gets disturbed, it disturbs the environment. So that is what the unit is all about. When the ecosystem, when one particular species is disturbed, it disturbs the ecosystem. and then it is a threat to the environment as well. That is what we are learning today. Okay, so if you have anything to say, you can. Otherwise, I call Reshma ma'am. Can you share something with us?
Nothing much, sir. So I hope everybody has understood the lesson. And so, if you have decided on the asynchronous activity, maybe you can discuss it with the class now.
Yes, I will do that. Okay. For your asynchronous activity, I will post it, but I will tell you. I will tell you now what to do. This activity. So give a pictorial representation of the food web of a balanced ecosystem. First, you need to give a pictorial representation of the food web or the food chain of a balanced ecosystem. Okay, pictures, you can collect pictures, join pictures, you can find from the net also, that because this can be found in the net. This is about the balanced ecosystem. Next, what you have to do is you have to write on how different ecosystems are interdependent in creating an ecological balance. Okay, so you can also use your responses from the chat box, and what you can do is you again have to mention represent another picture where the food web or the food chain is lost. How is it lost? You need to collect pictures for that. Okay, this is more of pictorial representation and less of words today. I want you to collect more of pictures and then less of words. As soon as I see your picture, that should be self-explanatory. Okay, so and then next one is, what are the measures that mankind can take to enhance a well balanced ecosystem? So three things. One is you have to uh, give a pictorial representation of a balanced ecosystem, and then few words to explain that. And then next picture, it should be how there's imbalance in the ecosystem and what is the threat to that. Where the food chain is missing, you need to mention that. I mean, represent that through the picture and with words also. And then the third thing is what measures that you can take, as that mankind can take to enhance a well balanced ecosystem. So wherever there are pictures, it's not necessary that there should be only two sets of pictures or three pictures. Wherever you can insert pictures, you can do it. Okay. So can you provide the questions in Google Classroom? Yes, definitely, I'll do it. So just is the asynchronous activity clear to you?
Sir, can you, so pretty much what we have to do is we have to take pictures and write down take pictures and write down the answer to the question you give.
Yes. You have to provide.
We can do this in Google Word. We can do this in Word document, right?
Yes, using Google Docs.
What's the due time? Or
due time is exactly 5.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes. 5 days. 5 p.m. today.
Sir, can you rephrase? Can you reiterate the question again? I'm not. I think I misunderstood. I just realized I might have misunderstood the question. Can you just reiterate just so that I'm confirm myself?
Okay. First, what you need to give is you need to give a pictorial representation of a food web of a balanced ecosystem, and then you can explain it in a few words. And then next, you have to give them how the food web is disturbed or how there's an imbalance in the food web or in the ecosystem. Okay. And then you can explain where is the threat, who is the cause of that. And then also another question where what measures what measures can mankind take to enhance a well balanced ecosystem? So you can insert pictures wherever necessary and then write about how many words. Totally, it can be 400, 300 to 400. Definitely there'll be 3 or 4 paragraphs.
Sir, if it's not too much to ask, do you think you can make the deadline 6 o'clock? Because if we like not a bit, sometimes especially since we're adding pictures and everything, we need to find them, and that might take a while. I mean, even with the internet, you still need to make sure you find some good pictures. Otherwise everybody would have to work together, and that would just cause a lot of photocopy clones of everybody's work. So, do you think you could extend it to 6?
Okay. 6. Somebody saying 7. 6 is okay, right?
Personally, I think 6 is okay, but I do not know about the other students. That's their prerogative, sir.
Okay, I will make it 7. Okay, I will make it, because looking at the chat box, I will make it 7. So 7 will be the deadline. 7 p.m. today, right?
Of course, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for being so understanding, sir. We'll do our best.